Good evening and welcome to my end of the week recap video here for the S&P 500 and plan ahead for next week. Earnings season starting to ramp up, so let's see what kind of catalysts we can get into these markets. Real quick, I added a new play. I think I covered it in my last video, but I got into these 21 December 313s. I want to try and build a little bit of a decent sized position in those. So we'll see where some opportunities are to add into it. I did close out of those November 320s, essentially just took that cash and rolled it into it. Um, Looking for a move up after earnings. We'll look for some pullbacks to supports to enter some swings as well. Did not get into these 290s here today. We'll look to do that tomorrow. If we get, excuse me, a break above this, I'm most likely going to like 291s. Very same thesis right here, break above, continues the uptrend and breaks this near term recently developed resistance. Um, Below there, I will be looking for the 287 calls about 4 weeks in the future, which is the 50 SMA, as well as you can see the prior all-time high, which for now should at least be considered to be support at approximately 286.70. And again, way down here below, every one of these green lines I will consider to be support. So 284s, 280s, and way down here at the 200 SMA, the 275 calls about 4 weeks in the future. So just like Apple, still trading near all-time highs, looking for pullbacks to support to go ahead and get into some swing trades for a new all-time high. And I want to touch on the overall big chart here. This was the W pattern I had drawn and started talking about back here in May. As you can see, it's played out perfectly. Not necessarily reversing off of it, but there was a spike in volume these 2 days where it did hit those levels and it started to come back down. So again, it's all-time highs, just possible risk of exhaustion, and we just need to find another area of demand to push the price up higher. As long as it stays above, we'll call it wave and down here to 252 and does not put in a lower low below that, still an uptrend, and I'll still continue to trade it as such. The S&P 500, I've said probably thousands of times by now, is designed to go up, so I'm not going to bet against that. Also want to go a little bit closer in here on the hourly time frame, just to kind of point at a few things. I thought I had some arrows drawn on here, but I guess not. That's okay. Any one of these large volume bars, you just take a look at where they're at, see what price action did off of those levels. And I'll give you an idea of what price action is doing and has been doing. Okay, so, oh crap, I zoomed in too much, didn't I? Here we go. The first one's right here. Put in a long lower wick. This one also put in what a dead cat bounce. This one came down to support. These held support and finally started rocketing up, and then volume trails off. Okay, same thing started back here. This one was actually at a peak, so this is kind of an odd one. But anyways, volume on the way down, put in a wick. Next volume held support with tremendous amount of strength. These are the most recent ones. So we go back here even further, and it's a lot more obvious what's going on. Whoops, excuse me. As volume comes in, where it's at, trying to get closer to price this time so it's easier to read. Call it there, there, right around here, this region. A lot of volume here, which obviously we already know about that, but you can see major volume comes in on lows. Volume on the way up. This one happened to be a top, but this one on the dip on the pullback. So volume is still coming in at lows. You can see where the volume spike was. This day right here alone was over 20 million shares in the last 30 minutes, including some of the after hours. That's at a support. It was not at highs. It was not on a breakdown. This was at a support. So bears, be careful. There are participants buying on the dips here, a lot of shares. Volume also came in today at the end of the day. We may continue to have a pullback. I'm completely aware of that. It is possible, and I'm still going to sit here and wait on my levels. But for now, keep in mind where this volume is coming in, what that means, and at least what it implies. Go here to the futures. It's a lot more obvious. You look here on these last hours. I mean, this was the day where 20 some million shares of S&P were traded. All this volume came in at lows. All this volume today came in at the end of the day. It looks like it's going to be followed through to this level as a move up. That's just my opinion. Now, if we break this red line here at 220, excuse me, 29.27 and a half roughly, this little bit of a downtrend is void and will most likely start to continue higher. Now back to the S&P 500. Also want to point out what's been going on here in the month. Okay, we had a break above all-time highs, close above it last month. This month has now put in indecision. Okay, indecision, no clear direction, so we kind of have to zoom in a little bit further and see what's going on. Even more indecision. This is nothing but an inside week. Price action chopped around, not bearish, not bullish, not a reversal, not even a continuation at this point. So just keeping in mind the overall theme of what's going on in the markets. Just a lot of indecision. We do have some upper wicks to be concerned about, at least to be conscious of. But again, remember where the volume's coming in and what that's typically done. If the S&P is designed to go up and you can obviously see volume coming in at lows, you decide for yourself what you think that means. My trade plan, looking for supports, maybe a breakout over 291. We'll see what happens on Monday. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them down below. Have a good weekend and good luck.